Daddy gets lost. Daddy gets lost. Daddy gets lost. Munch.
And welcome to Daddy Eats Last, where we discuss the challenges of being a man in modern society and whatever the hell that even means. I'm Kane, and joining me today to chat man stuff are Ryan and Maddie. Firstly, gents, how are you doing?
I'm good, boys. I'm good. Not a bad weekend up here. The sun's still shining pretty hard. It's nice and hot. We've moving a lot of boxes in our house at the moment. We're renovating in a few weeks' time, so in preparation for that, we've been decluttering a hell of a lot, which is great. Kim's been watching this Marie Kondo thing on Netflix, which is sweeping the world. So yeah, but it's all the better for it, I think, which is good.
So have you kissed your underwear goodbye and thanked them for their help on their journey?
Not my underwear, but a few other things I've had to kiss goodbye. So, which I think Kim's been pleased about with some of the old items of clothing I've been hanging on to for quite some time. But yeah.
Was there any piece of clothing which you didn't really want to get rid of, which you had to bid farewell to?
There's a nice jacket I've taken around Europe a couple of times, but it's a bit faded. It was an ugly army green colour, so I think it's done its stint. I would have liked to keep it, but I think Kim had a nice smile on her face when I kissed her goodbye. Yeah.
Was it a black jacket, Matthew? That's your brand, isn't it?
No, Mossimo was the brand I was back into those days.
There you go. What about you, Ryan? How's your weekend?
Yeah, good. I got around to watching Bohemian Rhapsody, a killer movie. I disappointingly knew very little about Queen. I knew a lot about their songs, but most of it was from people that had remixed their songs. So TK was looking at me going, did you not know that was their song? And I was like, no. She's like, yeah, they basically created a whole lot of music. So, yeah, didn't even know that Freddie Mercury wasn't around anymore. So I learnt a lot about music this afternoon.
I love it. That's fantastic. So what did you pay for a ticket to the cinemas on a Sunday night?
I don't know, we weren't too bad actually. We signed up to the Village Rewards thing, so I think we got them for about 15, but normally they're 20 or 21. Although we did look at going gold class, which after we kind of went, well, 30 for normal or 84 for gold class, we thought we'd wait and see if we could snag a gift voucher gold class thing. Sometimes I have a few ads that run on Facebook, so we're keeping an eye out for that, I guess.
Or maybe it might have been lost on you being in gold class for a film about a band you had no idea kind of existed.
Disappointingly, no idea, I was told. Yes.
Also, we wanted to chat tonight about the cost of living. Hence the cinema tickets being $15 being a fairly reasonable price. The sort of average cost is around $18 a ticket, I believe, for cinemas. So 15, you've done pretty well there. It's a sniff.
Yeah, we did all right. The Village Rewards, as frustrating as it is to be on another loyalty program, it actually serves us okay today.
Excellent. Did you get popcorn? Did BYO popcorn and drinks?
We did the cheeky buy the M&M Crispies from the Woolworths and hide it in the handbag. So we didn't pay $7 for them. We paid $3 for them because they were on special. But no, we definitely got gouged on the large popcorn on the way through.
Well, I think I can top that. I remember when I was a 15-year-old going into Knox cinemas to watch, some kids' film at the time, and me and my two cousins, and this was back in the day of 2-for-1 Whopper vouchers from Hungry Jack's. We dead set, each of us took in 2 Whoppers in to watch a film.
Well, we've been enjoying a bottle of wine this afternoon, and I was like, we should just take the wine. And TK was like, no, I definitely don't have a bag big enough to turf that one in. So we bought some while we were at the cinemas and definitely got gouged on that one. It was like $27 for the house 375ml red. So
wow,
the markup on that, the movies have done very well.
It would have been cheaper to buy TK a bag.
Possibly. It would have. We could have gone and got a $10 bag from the market. So it was a really big fake one and just stashed a bottle of $10 wine in there, and we would have been fine.
depending how big the bag was, it could have been a bag of goon. That would have been happy days all around.
Don't know that we would have gone that cheap, mate.
A little hack I used to do, back talking about movies when I was 15, we used to, rather than pay for the extra price you pay at the supermarket for a cold bottle of soft drink, we just get one off the shelf, go and throw it in the freezer, and just walk around the Dandenong Plaza for a little bit, go back to the supermarket, pull it out, cold, run through the cash register at the normal price, and bang, off to the movies.
Well, I guess that's the beauty in inverted commas now of self-service at the checkouts. You don't even really need to worry. Is there a difference between cold and warm? Is there a price differential? Who puts that through? Can the little weighing device sense that you've actually put through a cold thing as a warm thing or something? I don't know. Cost of living, gents, we are extremely lucky to live in Australia. It's a wonderful country to live in. We're extremely lucky, but god damn, some things are expensive here compared to other places around the world. I mentioned cinemas before. A pint of beer, on average in Australia, is $9, and that's just something like a Carlton Draft or a Victoria Bitter or whatever the hell you can drink up in Queensland, Matty, 4X or something.
Yeah, 4X Gold. Yeah, not my cup of it. That's what they do.
$9 a pint. That's I remember back when I was a kid, it was like $2 pots. Now for $9 a pint, if you're getting $9 a pint, you're probably doing pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know where you'll find a $9 a pint, because you're definitely not finding it around Melbourne CBD, unless it's some special happy hour, because I definitely can't find anything under 10.
We do have different tastes though, Ryan. I remember when you were doing Feb Fast not that long ago, and I went to a corporate event with you when you were doing Feb Fast, and the lady asked me what beer I'd want. I said, I'll have whatever he would usually drink, just to kind of really rub it in. And you asked for an Asahi, which a pint of Asahi, you'd be not getting much change out of $15, would you?
No, but I definitely can go to the Carlton Draft. But even, finding out $10 is a bit hard around Melbourne. But where when I was working in a bar back, I actually have a little back in the day, even though I'm the token person showing their 20s on this podcast. But back in the day, when I was working behind a bar during the uni days, Perth was going through its lovely mining boom. And good luck getting a pint of beer for under $9 over there back then. So that was very expensive over there. And unfortunately, every time I do go back to Perth, I'm quite surprised about the cost of living, even though they do not have their mining boom anymore and they're not doing overly well over there. Coffee and beer and everything still seems to cost a lot more over there than Melbourne at the moment.
That's crazy. Coffee's that's another trigger point, how much it costs to get a cup of coffee these days.
Yeah, that one's
standard rate for a cup of coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I'm not too sure, but is it, $4, $5?
It's broken the $4 mark now. Yeah, so it's standard. Yeah. If you get it under $4, it's like this is fantastic.
Does that mean when 7-Eleven sorry, I was just going to say, when 7-Eleven are flogging their dollar coffee or McDonald's, does that mean the quality is just absolute rubbish, or are they any good, or?
I don't know. I haven't had one. I'm a very much coffee snob, but I have a few friends that actually rave about the $7-Eleven coffee. So I probably should try one, because one of the cafes that I go to is now cracked for $4.20 for and I just have straight long black, so no fancy soy milks or any flavouring or anything like that. And that, when they got to that really irritated me a little bit.
Well, I can say two things on that. Being an ex-coffee drinker and drinking a lot of coffee previously, I actually found the $1 coffee pretty good at 7-Eleven. McDonald's not so bad. 7-Eleven was great, and then the sort of some of the petrol stations which had the coffee machines in, and they were the 80-cent ones, they were quite good as well. I think they were Shell. They were quite good, so I never had a problem with those. Yeah, as soon as you add any type of nut milk to a coffee, you're almost lucky to get change out of a $5 note these days. And then with a public holiday surcharge, sometimes it's a bit more than that. So, yeah, it's crazy times on the coffee front in Melbourne.
Well, last time I was in Perth, I legitimately paid $6, and that absolutely blew my mind.
Wow. For straight black coffee?
Yep.
Wow.
Mind you, it was in some specialty coffee cafe, but I was still like, you sit down, you order it. Oh yeah, I'll have this. Didn't actually look at the price at the time. Bill came and I just went, "You've got to be expletive, kidding me." But yeah, $6. So.
And then we did a podcast a couple of weeks ago about cheap pleasures. Coffee's off the list.
Definitely that place.
So $1.12 and a beer and a shower. I can get a beer for $4. Why would I have a coffee? I might get a beer for $4, almost a clean skin bottle of decent red for sort of $5 or $6. I'm not condoning the intake of booze over caffeine as such, but man, when you kind of compare prices, coffee's an expensive pastime or drink.
Do you, Ryan, forget about the price once it hits your lips? Or do you not enjoy the coffee as much knowing that you've paid a certain price for it?
No, I do forget about it once it hits the lips, provided it's good. Which is why I can be very selective of the cafes that I go to. But I think also I view it differently. I do view it as a bit of a treat. So I do factor in that, like I sort of factor in as weird as it can sound, I have a weekly coffee budget. So I kind of cherish going out. And I have been using the machines at work a bit more and sort of actually, rather than going, oh, yep, I'll standard, go out and buy 1 to 2 coffees a day, using it more as a bit of a treat. Since it's cracked that $4 mark, it has changed my psychology a bit. So, but yeah, as soon as it hits the lips, I kind of enjoy it for what it is, I guess.
Do you have a tin of Nescafe Blend 43 at home, or you don't touch coffee at home outside of sort of a pod or machine or going out for a coffee?
Yeah, it's going to make me sound really bad, but definitely not. Minimum is the Nespresso machine that we have at home.
That's fair enough. I won't buy, because now I'm not drinking coffee, I drink tea. I really, outside of maybe having a chai out there, which has been sort of brewed and blended, I really struggle to go out and buy a cup of tea because it's like a 15-cent tea bag and some boiling water, and they try to charge you $4 or $5 for it. It's insane.
Yeah. But I do wonder, like, with the cost of living, and, inflation is something, and disappointingly, wage growth has been quite small. So people are certainly struggling, and we're even seeing at a macroeconomic level that I think it was the second quarter in a row or something that spending actually got retracted. So people are clearly holding on to their money, and they are a bit concerned around the cost of living. But I do wonder, like, if we have this premise that everything continues to go up, so coffee's $4 today, and if we look at what it was 10 years ago, I'm just plucking numbers that say it was $1 back then and 25 cents 10 years before then or whatever, and beer is now, $10 for a pint or whatnot. Can it just continue to go up? Like, can it just be put down to cost of living, everything's going to keep going up, and 5 years from now, we'll be paying $20 for a pint of beer or something when we all catch up?
That's a really interesting point, and it's probably the first time that macroeconomic has ever been used on this podcast, which I think is a feather in your cap, Ryan.
I'll take that.
I don't think it can. I think everything has to cap out. It's supply and demand. Like, at some point, if you price something to be too expensive, then the demand for it will dry up. So there's a supply and demand curve in there somewhere. But at the same time, people are happy to go into debt to pay for things. Like, people using Afterpay and ZipPay now to pay for things, to get something in advance and pay it off over sort of an 8 or 10 week sort of period. So I don't think people sometimes care. They're just happy to put it on their credit card and worry about it later on if they really want it. So is that wants and needs thing mixed in with the supply and demand thing? But yeah, I'd be interested to see in 5 or 10 years' time what happens to things like I guess everyday sort of things like a coffee or a beer.
I think some external factors as well, so like electricity prices and the cost to make the said product for the consumer as well. That'll dictate whether the price continues to increase.
It's true, but at the same time, I guess there's competing interests, especially for cafes and for beers. You have different pricing points, so you can get a $1 coffee and you can get not a $27 375 ml of wine. So there are different options out there that people can choose a pricing point for them as well. I guess moving away from, consumables, I was reading, doing a little bit of reading around statistics, and the median rent in Melbourne at the moment is $420 a week, and I guess the average mortgage repayment is about $640 a week. So when you factor that into an average wage, taking out rent or taking out mortgage repayments, there's not a whole heap left to kind of spend to spread around on, I guess, your cost of living stuff as well.
Yeah, I definitely think with some of the stuff that I was looking at is a lot of people are really struggling to keep that cost down. You know, with the price of houses, or as you said, the median rent there. The more that takes up of your wage, obviously, the less you have to spend on cost of living things. And it's, because I do think if things keep going up, like I psychologically would really struggle to ever pay $10 one day for a coffee. I think that would just break me in terms of society. But I mean, it's a good point that you made there, Matt, because if we can get on top of other things and, say electricity or bits and pieces, whatever other factors there are, or if, rents don't go up with commercial rents or something like that, then I suppose it does still depend on consumers basically going back and not paying ridiculous amounts of money for things and then putting pressure on business to keep it down. But I wonder, is there any things that you guys can think of that cost of living's actually gone down?
Milk in the last 4 or 5 years has gone down. It's been probably pretty well publicised in the newspapers how farmers are maybe being screwed by the supermarket chains to keep the cost of milk down. I remember milk being much more expensive than it is now.
Yeah, off the top of my head, milk's probably the only one I can really think of. I mean, everything else seems to be going up. I mean, just on a side note, touching on the movies back before, our fleet has $12 tickets as standard. So I mean, there's an example of one that has gone down. I don't ever remember them being $12 a ticket for a reclining seat. But apart from that, I've been thinking today, and milk's probably the only one that really has gone down.
The movie one's a good example. I won't go to the movies unless it's Tight Ass Tuesday or a special sort of pricing screening. I just won't. But,
I'll tell you what hasn't gone down, the size of the product. Like you look at chocolate or those kind of consumables, the price has gone up, but the actual size of the product is reduced.
Yeah, it's two levers that they've kind of pulled there. I think one of the things that I was thinking of, and I don't know whether it's a cost of living thing as per se, but travel. I actually think travel has gotten cheaper, if not at least stayed the same as what it was 5-10 years ago. And theoretically, we should be, because of 5-10 years and inflation and all that, the average wage has increased. So therefore, in a way that travel has actually gotten cheaper, or I think it has, to have the accessibility to get overseas or get interstate for relatively the same price as it was 5 years ago, if not, in many cases, when you go international with discounted flights and those kind of things, to actually go a bit cheaper.
Yeah, even domestic's cheaper. I remember going to Queensland 20 years ago, and I think it might have been $400 each way, and now I can probably get there and back on Jetstar for maybe $80 each way. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think technology's played a great role there in making aeroplanes more fuel efficient to be able to keep the prices down, and also the competition in the airline industry is a lot greater than what it was 20 years ago, when it was pretty much probably just Qantas and ANZ maybe, and now you've got a few of the budget airlines as well, which is good for consumers.
Now, and Matty, with kids especially, I know you travel with kids, so maybe move away from travel just for this example. What about childcare and schooling? Like, we're getting the stage now of looking at schools and stuff for Fergus. What's the pricing points for that? Like, I'd imagine it's not cheap to send a kid to childcare and then also to school these days. And I don't even know how the school system works anymore.
Yeah, so, I mean, by the time they do get to school, it's happy days because you've been paying so much money for childcare. I'll give you an example. So Sam goes to daycare 5 days a week at the moment. He just started up on 5, and the daycare cost is $129 a day, but there is a rebate, so you get about 50% of that back, and I think that might be capped at around $10,000. So we're sort of out of pocket between 12 and 15 a year, so that's our cost for daycare, as opposed to school, which is about $840 a term. So the price difference there is it's happy days by the time they get to school. But I think that potentially, I was discussing this with Kim earlier tonight, and she made the point that it's probably parents are probably sending their kids to school a lot earlier than they maybe should be, because if cost is a factor within the family. So rather than spend that extra money on daycare, which is quite a difference, they might be sending their kids to prep a little bit prematurely, which again is then having an effect on the kids, where they've got to be pulled out, and then the parents have got to deal with that, or other factors as well. But yeah, it's not cheap to get your kids to daycare. So it was $129 a day for Sam. The previous one that Eloise was at was $110 a day. So I think the closer towards the city you get, the more the prices are. The more expensive it is to send your kids there. But it's unfortunately for us, we're both parents working full time. It's just it's a necessity.
Yeah, and 3 kids as well. So yeah, when you factor that across to 3, because Eloise is at kinder now.
Yeah, she's at kinder, which is $9.30 a term. Yeah. So I mean, if you had 2 or God forbid 3 at daycare, you'd be
oh God, yeah.
I don't know what.
Having this conversation with a mate a few weeks ago, who his intentions of sending his 3 kids to a pretty top-notch private school, and I'm kind of just doing the math in my head and kind of knowing broadly what the private schools will cost to send there. So 3 kids who are going to go there for sort of roughly 12 years each, he'll be out of pocket about $1 million of after-tax money by the time his kids go through school.
Ooh, yeah, it's so scary, isn't it? I mean, we've been looking at schools now for Mia, and we've got to get Sam on a register for a school that he's going to be attending, in 7 or 8 years. And I think the top school here in Brisbane, I think, is $25,000 a year for the boys, and I think for the girls it might be just under or about 20. So we've sort of got some sort of saving plan. We've had to start, a couple of years ago, just to make sure, we can afford eventually to send the kids to a decent school.
It's crazy. And I don't remember those costs when I was younger. I went to the local public school, and I'm sure even the private schools weren't. The price differential between public and private back then, I don't think was as big as it is now. It just seems that at that sort of sharp end of it, it's out of control. I was mind-boggling when I was doing the math in my head. I was going, okay, that times 12 times 3 kids, $1 million after tax out of pocket. And he's in a well-paying role, and so no doubt he can afford it. But that's a lot of money.
It is, yeah. When you look at the grand total over the X amount of years you'll be doing it, it's very scary, very scary.
I mean, even $1 million over 12 years, you're looking at 80. Plus, that's assuming that the price doesn't increase over 12 years. So you're really looking at probably $100,000 a year, which after tax money could be anywhere from $160 to $180 just on schooling.
Yeah, that's before uniforms, school books, etc., etc. It's just to get in the door at the school. There's not even putting clothes on the kid.
That does blow my mind.
And I'm tipping you can't actually ride through the school just in a Hessian sack either.
No. And the uniforms of those schools are not cheap as well. Then you've got school camp, and then if they're going to play, say, a sport like cricket or football, they've got to have all the gear for that. And that's just you might be an extra 100,000, 200,000 over the lifetime of the kid going to school for all these extracurriculars.
Schools like that, they just play polo and stuff, don't they? Even if you don't horse. I've got 3 ponies for this. 3 ponies.
What do you holiday for the
no idea. But I mean, is that where it's all going? Like, I was over in America last year, and that's obviously very, that's the extremes of upper absolute echelon wealth, and then the complete opposite. Do we think that cost of living and all those pressures and that are pushing Australia towards that way, or do we think that at some point common sense is going to just sort of prevail and go, yeah, we really shouldn't be paying $20 for a beer?
Well, I think, why are we so expensive here? Like, I give an example of, a croissant over in Paris will cost €1, right? And that's a general price at any sort of bakery that bakes fresh every day. There's a bakery near where I live that bakes their croissants fresh, and they're fresh as they come. $4.80 they are charging for a croissant, and it gets up my goat so much. It's cash only. When it just
an authentic croissant in Paris from you basically a patisserie, and they're all fantastic over there. Will cost €1, so like $2 tops, and over here it's almost 2.5 times that.
Yeah, and it drives me insane. And people are lining up out the door at this place. I don't know whether or not because it's there's not a boulangerie on every corner here in Brisbane, and whether or not it's a niche market they've got here. But $4.80 is just it's a killer.
I think Australians have maybe kind of it's going the American sort of way of it's all just commercialisation and stuff. Now we might have kind of crawled up our own backsides a little bit. When I can go to a cafe and get a turmeric latte with smashed avocado and a couple of poached eggs. Apologies to Bernard Salt for using the avocado reference, but it's just like $30, and I'll happily pull my card out of my pocket and tap for it, or a lot of people do. $30, like if I have to earn that money to make it, this is after-tax money. Like I'd have to earn sort of $50 or $60 or $70 to probably $50, $60 to make that. Like that's a lot of money just to throw away or to spend on a breakfast, which people do every weekend at every cafe around Melbourne. It's just, I don't know, man. It's mind-boggling.
I suppose are we getting, are we doing it? Are we getting that value as an experience value? Like one of the other big things I was reading is that moving forward, experiences are king now. People are seeking to have more and more experiences and probably less stuff, I suppose. Hence what's her name, Maddie, that you were saying, the Maria Kondo lady who's gone gangbusters, which I'm a big fan of that minimalistic style. But yeah, is it that we're seeking those experiences, or is it just that cost of living pressures is something that we kind of in Australia have gone, well, it is what it is, and it's normal to have debt on the credit card, and it's normal to just be pushing away with two jobs. And because I guess we don't really talk about money in this country, it's kind of like, well, we'll kind of all keep quiet about it, and the government will use it as a whacking stick for an agenda with some election, which none of them will do anything about it anyway, because our taxpayers' dollars fund their lifestyle and every expense that they seem to have. So, yeah, is it just something that we're sort of, well, let's be quiet as a nation and we'll just suck it up and hopefully it all works out for the best?
I don't know. It's somewhere in the middle there. But I think, like, I'm sure each of us, and I can speak for me, I won't speak for either of you. Like there were times when we were paid monthly, and we'd get to like the last week of pay, and the money would be gone. So you just live on 2-minute noodles for a week rather than going out and spending, say, $20 or $30 on a meal and putting on your card, and then paying for it in the next pay run. You just get by with what you had, as opposed to, I guess, smashing the plastic to kind of just maintain whatever your perceived living style was at the time. So it's just, I don't know, I think maybe people's mentalities have changed to wanting stuff now instead of maybe wanting something when they can possibly afford it.
Yeah, true. And I wonder if even before, like, we're talking about cost of living that now, but the last 10, 20 years has things like the bank and the credit industry, and minor conspiracy theory here, but have they gone, well, people aren't going to run out of money and we want to fuel this. So they've played a part in that to go, hang on, let's just normalise this cap. Let's normalise this seamless money, and then we can kind of just normalise everyone having a little bit of debt and what is a bit of harm. You know, waiting that extra week until you get paid and then you look after it and that kind of thing. But I guess, are you guys doing anything to counteract what seems to just be an ever increasing cost of living?
Every time I bet a half foot forward another piece of clothing for the kid, I'll go, oh, does he already have 4 jumpers? He doesn't need another jumper. So yeah, mine's pretty much around, like we mentioned before, on like just more stuff. So yeah, I certainly kind of do that. And yeah, I when I do the supermarket shopping, I shop for bargains as well, and kind of make do with different stuff and cook different things to kind of fit what's on special, what's fresh, because what's fresh is generally cheaper as well. So yeah, it's really basic stuff. It's not sort of really cutting costs here and there as such. It's more just being a bit smarter and a bit savvy about what you buy and when.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like I know, well, my sister, she listens to this podcast regularly, so she'll probably kill me for saying this, but she's, you know, typically one who has to have it now type thing rather than sort of save for it. Well, she used to be. I don't know if she still is, but as opposed to say, you know, us with a you know 3 kids and a family, sort of got a lot of extra expenses. We'll, like you said, Kane, you know, wait for something to come on special to buy it, or you know, look for those weekly specials, shop online, you know, sort of save some money where we can there. So I don't know whether it's a generational thing, although Ryan, you probably fit into her generation, but I'm not too sure what sort of category you're in, whether you sort of just go out and get it or you sort of wait. So what do you do, mate? Do you have it now kind of guy, or?
I'm sort of probably half foot in both camps. There's some things where I just do kind of go, well, I can get it now, and fortunately, you know, I'm fortunate enough to be able to not worry about that too much with the jobs and that I currently have. But I can definitely see that changing as I have kids. I saw that change actually when I got a mortgage rather than renting. So very different mentality, or definitely when I was saving for that, hugely different mentality. I didn't have that. That's all right, I'll buy it now and I'll be able to sort it out with a few things over the next 2 weeks, and it'll all balance out by the end of that attitude. But I think one of the things that's, you know, the things that I do with the cost of living is I'm a big fan of, I'm more than happy to pay for experiences because I do value and get a lot out of that. But before the Mary Kondo thing, and I'm sure I keep saying her name wrong, but I think one of the reasons why that's taking off so much, and before that I was a big fan of the minimalism movement, so just having less stuff and being more consciously aware of what you're spending on. And I've sort of practiced that for about 2.5 years now, that's really helped me justify some cost of living things. So I go, yeah, okay, well, beer's now $11 or whatnot, but that's okay because I'm consciously aware of the stuff that I'm buying and just having as I guess, stuff. So that's probably the counteract cost of living strategy that I have. And I think one of the reasons that it is taken off so much is because it actually does relieve a lot of stress for people when they go through it and go, well, I've got all this stuff, I'll sort of get rid of it, but then maybe I don't need to buy stuff per se anymore. And I can be a bit smarter about that. So, I mean, I'm all for that as being a strategy to help with the cost of living. But I also think maybe not a generational thing like you said there, Maddie, but just a time in life thing where right now there's times where I'd hugely value catching up with a friend and will happily pay $6 to catch up with a friend in person and enjoy that experience over coffee whilst we're young professionals with our kids. But probably I won't feel that $6 is well spent when I could be doing something cool with little kids or whatnot. So I think it's a different life stage thing, but different costs of living play a different factor.
Just an example of the experience that you mentioned there, Ryan. Today, for example, Kim's car needed a wash, so we could have sat on the front lawn and watched it, and, the kids would have been crying or running around at the back and needed to be, watched, and could have done that for an hour. But instead we went to the car wash. And it's one of those ones where you just drive through and it, does its thing and you sit inside. But it was $37, which included, this bubble Kano thing where all this different coloured soap fell down. And the experience was fantastic. Like, the kids were just screaming in the car with smiles on their faces. They'd never done it before. Sam was in the front with Kim because he was screaming in the back seat anyway. But yeah, as an experience, like it only went for probably 10 minutes, but it was a lot more fun than doing it at home and not enjoying it, as opposed to just paying $37 to go through a car wash and seeing some smiles on the kids' faces. So I think the experience plays a big part on on what you spend your money on.
Kids, if you're out there, don't worry about going to Dream World. Just go to your local car wash.
Oh, parents, if you're out there and you need something to distract your kids, go to a car wash.
Go to a local car wash and all the sounds and bells and whistles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if it's just about being more conscious with what you're spending your money on to combat the increased cost of living. Because if you look at what, say, the banks or the Afterpays or that of the world are trying to do, it's trying to make us not be conscious about that.
Dangerous.
So, maybe that is ultimately one of the only strategies that we can actually use with this increasing cost of living that seems to continue to just go up.
That's a really, really interesting point, Ryan, and that's probably a good place to leave it for this evening. A fascinating episode, actually. I think we could talk about that all night. That wraps it up for this week, though. Do subscribe to Daddy Eats Last on iTunes, and while you're there, please leave a review. Also, tell your mates about the podcast, especially if they're guys. Most of all, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week for another episode, or should I say serving, of Daddy Eats Last. Well, if we can afford it. How's that for a dead joke? We'll catch you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.